Massive thank you to our sponsor, Kaltura, and also to our headline sponsor, Choose to Rent. So I'm delighted now to be welcome and joined by Roland Renshaw, the CEO of VX, who will be talking around building the ETL digital twin. So it follows on really nicely from the last session, and you were saying you've got a great use case of digital twins from the last session. So really happy to be hearing what you did in this. And also, for any questions from the audience, you can use the QR code there and ask the questions, or feel free at the end or during to ask questions as well. So over to you.
Brilliant, thank you very much. Hello everybody. I'm going to quickly jump to the next screen where we talk about this ETL from last year as a digital twin. So off we go. Play this and then I'm going to have a quick talk about it, so you might recognise the hall. The previous presentation was all about collecting data, so we're all about producing an interactive 3D environment that's a photorealistic reproduction of the show that you're actually sat in. So the idea behind this is that physical shows are great, we're here today, we're all interacting with each other, but there's an awful lot more audience that's available online. Now, typically you either have a great show and a really poor online version, or you have a really great online version and no physical show. So this is about making sure that no audience, be it physical or be it online, feels like the worst party. So effectively, you've got an experience which is equivalent. Now, putting people in a room, great if you're at Excel, thousands of people, that's cool. But if you could have tens of thousands of people having the same experience, then anyone who's paying to be there gets an awful lot more bang for their buck. So this is about showing how the platform worked, how we physically did it, how we worked with ETL, and what they aim to get out of it. And also a bit of information about how we see this using probably in a better way than it was used for ETL. So skip from that. What we just said, any company who's advertising to an audience has 100% of your audience. Now, 100% of your audience is your known audience. It's who you're going to talk to, who you're going to email. If you've got other communications going out, brochures, publishing, that's 100% of your audience. So how many people from your total audience will turn up to a physical event? Well, I'm making a generalization here, but generally it's only about 10%. So 10% of your 100 will turn up to a physical show. Right, ace, what happens next? Well, that's your pre-registered list. Now, if anybody's used to doing B2B trade shows and trade fairs, you will know that about half of the people who pre-register for a show actually turn up on the day. So you're now down to 5%. So 5% of your addressable audience is kind of here in the room. So what happens to the other 95%? Now, VX is a company within our group, and one of the things you need is quite a big team, and you need quite a big team to do a number of different things in order to make that process of building a digital twin easy for the stakeholder. Now that's either an event organizer, or it's a large company, or it's somebody running a conference who wants a digital twin built. So essentially, you've got to be fairly big to be able to do it. You've got to have a dev team. So lots of dev teams are remote or they're subcontractors. There's our real dev team. They're in that building I just showed you. So that's something you absolutely need. You also need some really hardcore tech. So we've got lots and lots of servers and lots of engines that we use for running our 3D visualizations. Now, exhibition stand. That's a digital twin. So just the digital twin of the stand means that if we're going to build it for you, what do you need to send us? Well, from a practical point of view, anyone who's exhibiting here will probably have sent their graphics to GES, who are the stand builders who built most of the stands around here that are all based around a kind of shell scheme display. If you're building your own, you send it to your stand builder. So essentially, you can send us the 3D designs, you can send us the artwork, and then you can scan yourself. We've got an app. That's a 3D scan of me from last year stood on the stand. So put yourself on your stand. Send us that information, and we actually build out each stand in 3D. But we build it based on a model of the entire thing. That's a model of the downstairs of our building, where you've got the film studio and some of the render suites, and some of the live action stuff and our green screen rooms. So from that point of view, you record information. And this is where you start to trans over from a physical world to the digital world. So going over to the digital world, you record real people doing real things, put them on your digital stand. So once you've got your content, your designs, your layout, we've built the hall. Then this is young Jack, one of our 3D designers, and you can see on here, he has got this hall on his 3D program. So what he's going to do is that he's building out the hall and he's building out the stands in the hall. Now if we do this next year, it'll be much easier because we already built the hall. But the idea is that we're going to build this for more people to exhibit at Excel. Now, if you're looking for a digital twin, it doesn't have to be Excel, it doesn't have to be the NEC. It can literally be your backyard. The idea of a digital twin is that it's that perfect reproduction of the thing that you experience physically. So there's no difference between being there live or being there live online. Now, we've got a lot more Jacks, so we've actually got the biggest 3D team outside of the games and the film industry in the UK. Now, sounds expensive. However, we've worked on our systems and our software and things like that and our project management. So actually building a digital twin, even a really big one, is actually pretty fast if you've got the right people and the right tech. Now build it fast, doesn't make it cheap, but it certainly makes it affordable. So what's it built on? So it's built on the VX platform. Now you'll see lots and lots of companies around here with platforms. Now they do lots of clever stuff, so interactions, integrations, registration. You're probably using the app for the show today. So ours effectively manages all of the online visitor, traffic, content and the reproduction of the actual show. So if you go to the ETL website, go to ETL London 2023, go all the way down to the bottom to Digital Twin, you will arrive at our digital version of this. Now if you do that, we're tracking you. If you sign in, we know who you are, but we're very good about our data and we hold on to it. Now essentially you've got all of the stands in the show here, so that's the exhibitor thing. This was taken a few weeks ago. So there's 3,000 odd people going to be in the room today and tomorrow at the physical show. Now before the physical show opened, we'd only really shown it to a few people. You got 4,400 people through that. Now this really illustrates my point about a digital twin. Why do I want a digital twin? Well, it's quick and easy to produce because you just give it to us. And then these guys have doubled their audience before the show doors even opened. Now we're going to promote it pretty hard during the show. We'll promote it even harder after the show. So typically you get really big audiences, and I'm going to show you another show in a moment that actually gives you some proper audience figures. So from the point of view of the software, if you can work a mobile phone or social media, you can run the platform. You can organise your own content, you can manage it yourself, get some lovely dashboards. So from that point of view, dead easy to use, and it's well tried and tested. We've been doing this for over 10 years. Awful lot of investment in the platform. We've got about 800 venues, all live, all on the platform. We can take 1 million people simultaneously. So in terms of figures, not a problem. In terms of interactions, not a problem. So these are sort of barriers that have held up before to doing a really good digital twin. Now, moving on, if we're going to build a digital twin, it's not perfect for everything. If you're going to do a knitting show at your local church hall, don't build a digital twin, not your target audience. So I'm just going to give you the top 5 examples where you would use a digital twin. Now, number 1, high value audiences. People are going to buy expensive stuff. And it's also people who are time poor. Okay? Also, if they're geographically very spread out, that's very helpful. Now, typical example, medical conference. We did a medical conference. There was a company there that sells CT scanners. CT scanners are about $8 million each. So all of the surgeons and all of the medical staff who wanted to go to the show are all still at work. They're not going to travel all the way to one place in America to go to one show. But they might get some time off during the day, or more likely during the evening or the weekend. Now, we've looked at millions and millions of people going through the platform, and the idea that you visit a trade show during the day is wrong. You tend to visit it in the evening or the weekend. You'll be surprised how many people in Western Europe are online looking at digital things at 4 o'clock in the morning. It's really high. So from that point of view, it's convenience, and we're going to come back to that in a minute. So if you've got a show that's physical, but your digital twin has got a chance of getting that high value audience that's geographically spread and time poor, then digital twin is for you. Now, if you sell a CT scanner for $8 million, then absolutely it's worthwhile as well. So number one. Number two, what happens when the thing that you're selling is really expensive, really big, or in an inhospitable location? Brilliant example, oil rig. We built a virtual oil rig. We run seminars and events on the oil rig. You go on the oil rig, it looks real, it feels real, but you go on a browser. You don't need a VR headset, you just need a phone, a laptop, or a tablet. Now, you can go on, you can interact with everybody there, and you don't have to get a scary helicopter out into the North Sea. So that's a bonus. Now, number three, your audience is below the age of 25. I know I'm wearing well, but I'm not below the age of 25. However, if you have an audience that is below the age of 25, especially if they're COVID generation, they literally don't want to go out. They would prefer to stay at home. Now, actually, that audience also spends money. So if you're selling graphics cards, PC things, trainers, gadgets, that audience is super valuable. Now, you're not going to get them out of their bedrooms unless it's really, really good and their parents let them. So, quite frankly, a digital twin should be your first choice for that audience. Now, number four, your audience is potentially huge. I mentioned this. Say ETL was massively popular and there were like 300,000 people suddenly decided they wanted to go. It was the thing, they had to be here. Now, if you marketed your event properly, that could happen. If you're doing a physical event, unless you book the Super Bowl, not going to happen. So from a digital twin point of view, your venue can have as many people as you like through it. We use a cloud-based system, it's super secure, it's instantaneous, and you can have 1 million people there simultaneously having the same experience. So if you've got a really big audience, digital twin is your thing. Now, I mentioned this before, so kind of number 5's a cheat, but it's the retail opportunity. If you've got lots and lots and lots of people who are going to buy a small, low-value item, not a very big, very large, expensive one, this can still work for you. Now, it can work for you because if you get thousands and thousands and thousands of people coming through, maybe you've got an affiliate scheme with Amazon, or maybe you're selling e-commerce directly off your stand. Now, my frustration for years and years and years is I go to an exhibition, I see some really cool stuff. I want to buy the cool stuff, but they won't sell it to me. It's an exhibition. We're here to show you things. Now, why don't we have the physical one where you get to go see it, point your phone at it, bring it up on your phone, go to Amazon, buy it, or go to their shop, buy it. Why not turn it into a retail opportunity? Now, if your physical and your online audiences are all buying online, then you might have a few people, 100 people in the room. You might have a few thousand online. If a few thousand are buying online, that's going to pay for your event. So there is a different revenue stream here to take advantage of. So, I'll give you another example. The world's largest virtual exhibition is Printing Expo Online. Incidentally, if anybody's really, really interested in that, then Mr. Wayne Beckett, there he is, actually manages Printing Expo Online, and he's a VIP guest of ours today and tomorrow. So he's available to talk to, so you don't have to take my word for it. You take the word of somebody who's actually running the world's largest virtual show. So how big is Printing Expo Online? Well, it's Bellstadt. It looks a bit like the NEC, looks a bit like some of the German places, but it's 100,000 square meters, that's meters, not feet, of exhibition space. Now, 100,000 square meters, you can fit an awful lot of stands and some really big ones in there. So it can also look pretty sexy. I'm not saying this doesn't look sexy, it was very nice, some really nice stands here. But if you wanted to really go big, go large, go super impressive, then something like this, you could have a small physical show and a really big online show. Now, how big? Now, these figures, Wayne, these are from a while ago, but there's a stand list, 40-odd exhibitors, that's cool. You can go there, it looks just the same as it does when you go to a physical one, except when you click on the stand, you physically go there. You don't just read information about it. Now, this is a while ago, and I think it's more like 102,000 people now, so this is quite a long time ago. This was just after it opened. I really need to change this slide, don't I? Yeah, so at 35,000 people through the show, that's pretty good, yeah? So from a digital twin point of view, 35,000 people versus a few thousand physical, it's not either or. Why not do both? Let's have both. Let's have physical in the room, let's have online, let's boost your numbers, get an awful lot more return on investment for those stakeholders and sponsors and exhibitors who've paid to go to the physical show. Yes, it's more expensive, but if you get digital twin as well, isn't that a good thing? 102,000, I'm just going to say 102,000. There are other advantages. Now, we're Event Technology Live, we're here physically. We all came on a train or a plane or a car. And the reality is that that still has to happen, and it's still a good investment. However, what we're saying with digital twin is that if you're going to boost your audience massively, you can boost your audience while being sustainable, while giving better accessibility. You can increase the footfall to your physical show. Now, there's an awful lot of anxiety for people who organise physical events by saying, well, hey, if I do a really good job of digital, will anyone turn up on the day? Well, yeah, they will. If they're going to interact with it all year round, they know what they're going to see, they're part of a community, more people will turn up on the day. Absolutely guaranteed, and we've got the figures to back it up. You can create communities. We can increase brand value. And if you've got a show that you own, and that show you might sell one day, is that show going to be worth more if it's only a physical one, or is it going to be worth more if the portfolio is balanced between a physical show that's really popular and really good, and a digital online digital twin that's also really popular and really well visited? Pretty sure that business is going to be worth more money if you're using both digital and physical than just doing one or the other. Now, it's a bit cheeky, probably shouldn't put it in, but unless you're doing digital properly, you're almost certainly getting left behind. Now, from the point of view of Netflix, Amazon, need I say more, from a retail point of view, from the way we interact, you know, our entire life works on these. So from that point of view, why would you not have a digital twin? And if you're not having a digital twin, at some point you're going to get left behind. So that is just the truth. Now, what do? We've got some film studios, we produce really great interactive content that you can feed into a digital twin. One of the key things about having a digital twin is using your digital twin. Invite people in, show them cool stuff, have live debates, do all the things that you would do here, but do it all year round. So doing it all year round keeps that audience engaged. So instead of it being the poor cousin, it's something you invest equally in your physical and digital shows. Surprise, surprise, like next with the catalogues and the show and the shop fronts. Then if you actually look after all of your areas, then you're going to have a better product. So we're part of the Marketing Technologies Group. We do marketing, we do film studios, we do VX, and we do translation. That's the end of my quick run round about how we built ETL online. Have we got any questions? Sorry, that was really quick, that wasn't it? It was like, have we got any questions? I'm going to put a headset on so I can hear what's going on.
Otherwise we wouldn't hear anything. Thank you. That was really interesting, and you know, I love the bit around sustainability and monetization as well. And there's a couple of questions that have come in. One of them linking onto the monetization piece, which is how much additional sales resource will I need to successfully monetize a digital twin?
Very good question. There's two options. You can use your own sales team. So if you've got a sales team who is selling a physical show, physical stands, physical things, we can help train them, and they can sell them both at the same time. So as long as they invest a little bit of time in getting training from us, you can use your existing team. So not a lot more. We can also do a turnkey service, whereas if you've got a very large show and everyone's super busy and you just need somebody to sell the digital twin for you, then we will build a sales team around it, we will sell it for you.
Okay, that's really interesting. So how far in advance would you need warning if someone was to tap into that and use your team, your sales team?
My chief of operations will literally kill me if I don't say 6 months. 6 months is ideal because you get time to explain it to everyone, to walk them through the packages, everybody gets time to pick what they want and design it just the way they want it, and it's all delivered beautifully and in lots of time. The reality is, we've built these in a week.
Yeah. And I think the good thing is as well, it creates more inventory, doesn't it? So if you've got an event that's war-bound and you've run out of floor space to sell, now you've got more inventory to sell, so you can just add
100%.
more revenue onto the bottom line, which is really good, isn't it? You must see that quite a lot.
We do, and the nice thing is that if you've invested in a physical event as an exhibitor or a stakeholder, you've made your graphics, you've thought about your presentations, you've done all your artwork, it's all ready to go. So from that point of view, if you can just package it up and send it over, then hey, no more work, because we'll just reuse it all for you.
When you're selling this to potential customers, what are the main sort of objections that you hear? Where do people feel most nervous about using it?
So, two layers of customers. The customer who owns the event has probably PTSD from COVID, where they thought their business was going to disappear, and digital was the only way forwards. So that gives them a bit of anxiety. And there's also what I mentioned earlier, is that there's an awful lot of anxiety from people who say, well, if I do digital really well, my physical one is going to dwindle. Now, if your physical one's going to fall apart, it's going to happen anyway. So really invest in both. And you don't need to do the whole hog. You can just do small parts of the area. You can do sponsored areas. You can do interactions. You can dip your toe in the water. It doesn't need to be the whole hog.
Yeah, I think as you say, a lot of people are scared it's and or, but you can have both, and actually it can enhance. But I always say, like, it's a digital overlay, isn't it? It's a digital component. It could be 5%. It's a digital component. It could be 90%. But it's up to you, and I'm sure you can tailor it, can't you, to people's needs?
Very much. And it's about that commercial discussion as well. People are anxious about it because they've got to understand it. How much resource do I need to put in to think about this, and how do we interact it into my plans? You know, what's that overhead look like? And again, it's lower than you think. But it's like any new technology, change takes a little bit of time to get used to. But we've got ETL and events and places like that to thank for the fact that people are more familiar with technology now. So I think that barrier of anxiety and that kind of, I'm going to have to learn something else, is probably backing off quite a bit now.
Yeah, and I think it's really good that you said you provide training.
We do.
I think that's a big area, isn't it? I'll come back onto that, but we'll go on to another question which is interesting is, so do the exhibitors also get leads? And if so, how does it work?
Good question. So you get a dashboard. Now, if it is a free-to-access event, nobody has to register, it's just public access, then you get statistics, which will show you who's been on the stand, what have they looked at, any interactions we follow. So you get a really good data set for that. And from a marketing point of view, if your ROI is based on numbers, that's good. That's all you need.
Yeah.
However, if you're going to register people to come in, then we also offer a CRM part of the dashboard, and that will tell you exactly who's been on your stand, and it will give you their contact details. So actually, you can go onto there and you say, all right, well, how many people looked at this individual product? Who looked at it the longest? Who looked at it the most times? And that will literally, you press a button and it will tell you who to call. I'm going to call the top 5 people who are the most interested in this product. Brilliant. I'm not wasting my sales resource. So from a sales point of view, their ROI isn't lots of big numbers, it's like just a few, but only the people that will buy something. So the dashboard kind of does that. It's, if you pay for a stand, it comes with it, or if you're not paying for the stand and the organiser's paying for the stand, there's a small cost to get into the dashboard.
Yeah, got it. So it's much better as a lead because, of course, the analytics tell you the behaviours and how they're interacting with you rather than just a cold lead. So they're partly funneled as well, aren't they? So, and does it sync straightly into the CRM like Salesforce? Or?
Yeah, we've got an open API and we already link to SAP, Salesforce, a whole bunch of others, as well as some of the event tech apps that you'll see here.
That's great. So people can pull that, exhibitors can pull that real time, as
real
well
time.
as post-event.
Absolutely.
That's really good. And then what about smaller niche events that are built more around a conference? How does that work? Do you still support those types of events?
We do. And the best fit for that is that we have about 800 different venues. Now, a lot of those venues are based on digital twins. They're places that already exist. Quite a few of them we made. So we've got a kind of catalogue of different places and spaces. Conferences tend to follow the same thing. There's a little bit of exhibition at the front, there's a desk, there's some exhibition stands, and then a lot of auditoriums. So you can kind of pick from a catalogue of those, and we can rebrand them very quickly and easily, and they probably have a small number of exhibitors. So essentially that's a very, very low cost version of having a digital twin.
And just going back to the lead retrieval piece, do you find, what percentage more of leads do you think having your digital component adds an exhibitor than if they didn't have it?
Anywhere between 10-fold and 100-fold.
So that in itself is worth it, to give your exhibitors that ROI.
Well, we've got a couple of stands of our own at other shows, and we might get 20, 30 leads. I mean, last year here, we got 100 leads, which is really good, but we got 4,500 people through our actual stand.
Yeah.
They all logged in, we knew who they were, we knew what they were interested in. And of the 100 people we spoke to, actually very few engaged and bought something, whereas quite a few of the people who engaged digitally, we were selling to before the show was over.
And linking to the printing event, the virtual event, how many times a day do those exhibitors log in? Are they getting leads every day, every week, every month? How does it work?
So you have individual event times. So the good thing about this and having a physical event is everybody piles in at the same time, so you can man your stand, there's loads of buzz and people activity. A lot of online is it's on demand, so people kind of come in dribs and drabs over a long period of time. And that's really good if it's all automated, because it doesn't take personal time to make those sales leads. However, it's a really good thing to have interactive events. Now, whether that's round tables, seminars, I'm going to say TED Talk, that's a brand, Tech Talks, and other interactive things going on within that digital space. Sales conferences we've done, things like that. So if you have regular things happening inside that digital space, then you bridge that gap between the big one, where the physical event happens, but there's lots and lots of interactive things going on during the year. And what you see is there's a spike in visitors each time.
Keeps it going. We're going to have to finish shortly, unless there are any questions from the audience other than on the app. Okay, well thank you very much, that was really useful. How do people get in touch if they want to find more information out about you?
We are on stand D34, which is just over there. My name's Roland Renshaw and the company's BX. It's a D41.
And just one thing, for anyone who's going to be watching this as well and on demand, what's your website?
It is bx.com.
Brilliant, thank you so much.
Oh, I was going to leave you with